Our speaker today is Ann Connors. Ann was previously a member of Pile of Bones Toastmasters and came as a guest to Wild Oats quite a number of times before we finally persuaded her that she needed to be a member of our club, and we're so excited that she is. This coming year, she is going to be our Speechcraft coordinator, so you will hear more from her in the new year as she embarks on that specific role. Ann is delivering a speech today from the Persuasive Influence Path. It is a level 1 project in evaluation and feedback. So with this project, Ann will deliver a speech. She'll receive some feedback from her evaluator, and then she will redo the speech, incorporating some of that feedback as she deems appropriate in a subsequent speech. And then she will deliver a speech evaluation, which will be evaluated. Sounds complicated, but it's really not so bad. Timer, could you please provide lights at 5, 6, and 7 minutes for Ann? Please join me in welcoming Ann Connors with her speech, Volunteering at the Queen City Marathon.
Thank you, Connie. I'm just having a little bit of technical difficulty. I am not seeing any flags for the timer. So I'm almost taking that as a signal. Okay, thank you. You don't want me to talk indefinitely? Fair enough. So before GMS, where I work, became a sponsor of the Queen City Marathon, I didn't think about volunteering. I didn't think about how many volunteers, how many hours those volunteers put in to putting on a marathon event like the QCM. GMS started sponsoring it. They were looking for volunteers. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do it. And for full transparency, I got time in lieu. I get time in lieu every time I volunteer for the QCM. So it's not like it's really my time that's coming out. I get to work on a weekend and take time off during the week. But I keep doing it because it's such an incredible event. It's typically the first weekend in September. And so the weather is beautiful. This past year, it was a little warm, but generally it's just a nice September weekend to be outside. So I love doing it. For me, it's that last guaranteed weekend outside before potential snow or colder weather comes. So I have volunteered at a water station, which is an incredible experience. It's literally a wall of people coming at you. And we're now currently the first water station. So we could have, 4,000 or 5,000 people hitting us within the span of a couple of hours looking for water and Gatorade. So it's basically just a mass of humanity coming down you at Albert Street, which is quite the experience, but they're all so appreciative and they're so happy. So if you have a little bit of a fumble or a misstep, or your water cups aren't filled full or they're too full, you might get a little bit of water on you, but the runners are so appreciative. I hear constantly, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because the runners know if the volunteers weren't there, they wouldn't have the running experience that they have with the volunteers. I've also worked at the start finish line, and that's a really cool experience because you get to see the runners when they're leaving. So the full marathon, the half marathon, and I think it's the 10K all start within about 15 minutes of each other at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you hear the pounding music to pump the runners up, and you hear thousands of feet hitting the pavement as they take off on their races. And it's an absolutely incredible thing to experience. And before you know it, those runners are coming back. I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner, but it's really cool to watch those runners, and the fastest marathon person will come back from a 42.2 kilometer marathon within about 2 hours. So before you know it, these runners are coming back. They're picking up their medals. They're walking through the Connexus Arts Center green spaces. They're happy with themselves, and there's a vibe in the air that's absolutely incredible to feel. It is so positive and so incredible that I always say it gives me such good vibes that it carries me through on a positive attitude for most of the year. So as long as I keep volunteering every year, I just keep refreshing that positive vibe to keep going for the rest of the year. So it's an absolutely incredible event. And I know the the Queen City Marathon is put on by Run Regina. They need volunteers to go out and man those water stations. And I know that's a big commitment. It takes people and time and organization, but they also need what are called course marshals. So the course marshals stand on the course at designated spots, and they make sure that the running path is clear for the runners. So the traffic isn't ignoring the barricades or road closures, and driving where they shouldn't be, and that the runners know when to take those corners. Because if you've ever looked at a marathon map, it's a lot of corners, it's a lot of turns, and I'm guessing that anyone even running a 10 or 15K would not want to run further than they have to if they fell off course. So course marshals are there to make sure that the runners are going where they need to go safely. Because I work for GMS and I volunteer through GMS while we're sponsoring it, I don't have the opportunity to act as a course marshal for the QCM. So what I did this summer was actually stepped out of my comfort zone and volunteered through Run Regina for a couple of races. So the first one I was course marshal / water station person, which was interesting because you're making sure that people are turning around. So they put me at a water station, which was the halfway mark for the longest race they were doing that time. And it was the turnaround point for the 5K race. So while handing out water, I was multitasking and yelling out that this is the 5K turnaround so that the 5Kers didn't go further than they really needed to. And I loved it. The people, it was a more casual race, so it wasn't competitive. People weren't so worried about their times, but they were happy. They would stop and chat. They were connecting with other people that they haven't seen in a while. So it's just a really good environment. The next race I did was actually the I Love Regina Day race. So I was a course marshal. I had to block traffic to make sure that the runners could carry on safely on their route. And again, the runners are just so appreciative that you're there. The kids were having fun. They were smiling at me. And lots of people were saying, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. And again, I'm standing there going, it's a beautiful day. This is an excuse to come out for a few hours and stand in the sunshine and maybe get my steps in for that day. But it's not a long commitment. I think both times I volunteered as course marshals, I was committed for less than 4 hours. So it's not even a long-term commitment. It's just a little bit of time to go out and help the racers achieve their goals or whatever targets they've set for themselves as they're racing that day. If you're not willing to commit, or if I haven't done my job to inspire you to be a course marshal for the QCM, I do suggest you go next year when the QCM is happening and just check out the site. It happens from Friday night. There's a dark run at night, so it runs from 8 to about 9 p.m. And the people will have glow sticks and costumes, and it's just a really neat experience watching the runners leave and come in the dark. But there's also a movie. So Summer Bash for the past couple of years has done a movie at the QCM. So you can go down, you can see the runners off, and then you can go and check out the movie for a while outside on a big inflatable tent. It's a really cool experience in itself. Saturday and Sunday, there's different events for the kids. Saturday is really fun because that's when they do the little mini marathons for the kids. So they're short little 1, 2, and 3K races, but it is so fun to watch the kids leaving or coming back from those races, or watching the parents as they question their sanity because the younger kids need their parents to run with them on the courses. So those little 1K races for the youngest age groups, the parents all have to run. And when they're coming back, you can really see the parents questioning why they thought it was a good idea to sign their kids up for a race. So it's just a really fun event. There's things to do. It's totally free to go. If you do decide to go and check it out, I would recommend going Friday night or Saturday. Parking on Sunday is very, very chaotic and crowded. So unless you're willing to get there by 7 in the morning, you're going to be parking at the university and walking over just because there's so many people coming in at that time. But I do highly recommend that everyone take some time out of their day and sign up to be a course marshal or volunteer in another capacity with the Run Regina group for the QCM.